been way too long, man. Over a year since she was here, but Zou Zou from Soraia is back. New album, new song. I Seek Fire. We're going to talk about that in a little bit. Is rocketing up the charts. Zou Zou, so good to have you back on Real Rock Nights.
Oh, it's good to be back, Shep. It's good to see you again. It's been a while and lots happened, all good stuff. So it's good to be back and reconnecting with you.
First things first, are you well rested?
No, not yet.
God, you
Listen,
guys.
aside from the tour, I also, if you really think about it, like we did some like week-long tours here and there since 21, but with an album coming out and everything, this was our first legitimate like month-long like tour. And you went from bigger rooms to smaller rooms to small rooms. It's like there was all different and there was a lot of driving. And we definitely all got sick. Not COVID
Uh,
sick, like cold sick, and
yeah.
and it was bound to happen when you go back out there. But like that being said, it's a not well rested that feels really good. I feel like satiated. I feel like we did what we were put here to do, and spread the word of Soraia and the new music pretty well. We got some audience response, which was vital to seeing, what we'll add into the set list and what we'll move around a bit. So, and it was good to reconnect with people we haven't seen in about 2 years. Like honestly, a lot of people until this tour really didn't come out. Like they'd come out here and there. Some people would, and some people wouldn't. So it was really good to just play shows and do what we did. And it's all new, right? So it
Yeah.
feels like really good. We even like started playing the songs from Dig Your Roots that came out in 2020. So a lot of
Okay.
people, the first time they're hearing that too. So yeah.
That was one thing I was going to ask you about too. If you were pulling from that well, also because you have fans that missed out on that.
Yeah, I mean, I always answer like 13 answers in one question. You know how I do. Sorry about that.
You're
I'll
one
try
of
to
those
do
one of
better.
those wind you up and just let you roll.
Yeah, pretty much. But yeah, like, we're playing a lot of songs that people the one good thing about quarantine is a lot of people told us what they really liked song-wise. Um, and we just tried them out on the road and in different settings and saw how they did, and we're going to do them either way half the time. But yeah, we added a lot of Dig Your Roots. There's definitely some Dead Reckoning in there. We didn't pull as much from our older catalog. It's pretty much the last three albums we've been doing. So,
Now it's been a while since you've been here, and we have some new affiliates, and along with that, a plethora of new listeners. So let's kind of recap a little bit who Zou Zou and who Soraia is despite your soulful punk kind of sound and that in your voice, you actually started out a drummer.
yes, I did.
Explain that a little bit.
So, you know, um, I was just telling this story actually to my drummer the other day. It's so funny. And I can't believe I didn't tell this story. I told this on the road. So when I was about, I'd say 10 or 11 years old, I wanted to be a singer. I knew nobody in second grade, really, I wanted to be a singer. But at around 10 or 11, I decided that I was going to send in a cassette tape to, at the time, I think it was CBS Records or Warner
Okay.
Records. I forget. But I sang along to a song on the radio and sent it in. And I said, if by the end of this summer I don't hear from them, I'm not going to be a singer, which is a weird thing. But, I can't even tell you why I thought that, but I decided that. And of course, I didn't hear from them, which I found out later from my vocal teacher that like they don't just take unsolicited
Yeah.
material. Anyway, point is, I did want to do music. I knew I wanted to do music from an early age. And I decided I wanted to be a band by the time I hit high school. So
Okay.
I love the drums. So I started playing drums. I just thought I couldn't be a singer, but I'd love to be a drummer. And it wasn't like one of the like I wasn't like, oh, I can't be a singer, so I'll be a drummer. It was I love drums, so I'll play drums. So I was a drummer all through high school in different bands and I quit it for a while and then I joined back in my early 20s and I remembered the drummer didn't show up to rehearsal in my very first adult band, and I started singing. So that was it.
Okay. So that was the catalyst.
Oh
I was
yeah,
I
I mean
was
I
gonna
started singing since second grade, but I just didn't. At one point around 11 years old, I didn't think I was meant to be a singer. I thought you were born a singer or you weren't, which isn't true. You can, if you want to do it, you can do it. Yeah.
Yeah, you just got to stick with it.
Yeah.
That's the big thing. I mean, there are so many people out there that uh, just they do it for like a year and a half, and then just decide, okay, well, it's not working. I'm not good enough. I can't do it. It's
Yeah,
like, well,
that's a
no.
comparison thing. Like you have your own voice, you have your own words to say, and you have your own style, and that's, you know, usually it's reminiscent of someone else, you know, that you've probably been influenced by, but you have your own voice, and certain people need to hear that. So I once I knew that, and I wasn't like a kid anymore, and I knew this is what I wanted to commit to, I didn't really look back after that.
It just everything was full bore, straight ahead.
Yeah.
Just
I mean, what else are you gonna
like
do?
not going back. Okay, that's a little bit of what Zou Zou is about. I do want to tell you something that I thought was kind of funny. Said every time I think of Zou Zou, I think of Zou Zou's pedals. And
Oh,
I called you my little buddy Zou Zou pedals on the show when I was telling people when we had the first snafu where because I told people you were going to be on and then had a problem, you're on the road and stuff. And well, anyway, I said that and I got all these tweets and messages about quit making fun of Zou Zou. And I was like, what are you talking about?
really?
Yeah, because a lot of these people aren't old enough to remember like old
Ah,
Jimmy Stewart
okay.
holiday movie.
That's important.
I'm
That's
like,
a very hopeful thing, Zuzu's petals. That's a beautiful thing.
I was like, no, no, no. It's,
Yeah.
and then kind of explaining, and people were like, oh, okay. But I thought that was kind of funny. They thought I was making fun of you.
Oh,
Okay, let's talk about I Seek Fire.
okay.
Now, 26 on Foundations, when we started like talking about you coming on the show. And now I'm not going to let it out of the bag, but it's going to be quite a while before I play I Seek Fire on this show because this thing is rocketing up the charts. What do you think is the success of this tune?
I think as we write more and more, and with every successive album, that we stay committed to what we're doing and being more and more, you become more willing to take risks and more willing to try things. A lot of the rules and foundations you had in place kind of don't matter anymore. I think any artist, whether they're solo or a band, if they stay with the same people or if they stay on the same track, they're just going to get better at what they do. And you know, Travis and I are songwriters. So, and I've always been a songwriter before I even wanted to sing. So I've I take a lot of pride and integrity in it. I've had people say to me that my words are too smart sometimes, and I think, but that's the way I speak. That's the voice I want to bring to the world. So I think we just with every song we're committed to it. It's not like, oh, this is, let's just get 10 songs done for an album. We just write songs, and when we write songs and we're really working at it, we get into a flow, like, so it's like anything. If I didn't work out for a while and I started lifting again, it's hard, right? But if I've been lifting all along, you successively get in a
Yeah,
flow with it.
keep
So, and you challenge yourself more. So towards the end of a 5 or 6 song run that we're on, I usually start to like take more chances and be more honest and be more open. And we try things, and then we're in a collaborative flow too. And I think as soon as we wrote this song, I personally knew, and this isn't an ego thing, I just knew it was great. I mean, I loved when Travis sent me the riff, because I thought, here's 2 incredible riffs in one song. I was like, because I like writing to a riff more than I like writing to chord progressions. Like, I hear
okay.
a mood in the riff. I hear words in the riff. I hear words in the tone being used on the guitar. So that brings to light an idea in me, and something I've been reading for a while was Rumi, and I've read Rumi for years. But I Seek Fire, there's a quote that said, "Set your life on fire and seek those who fan your flames." And at the time, I was really identifying that, because I was like, this is good and I'm happy, but I want more, and not greedy want more. Like, I want to like live like fully embedded as an artist, like all the time, no matter where I am, what I'm doing. I want to observe the world through fresh eyes and clean eyes, and like a child. And so that's where the song came from, and that riff kind of brought the idea to the forefront. So I had come up with a verse and a chorus, and I met with Travis, and it grew from there. And then you meet with the band and it grows from there, and then you go in with the producer and it grows from there. So it turned into something different. But from day one, when he just sent me the bones of the song, I knew it was one of those songs that was going to be a good one. I didn't know if the world would respond, but I knew I responded to it. So I think that just comes once in a while. So
Okay, you responded to it. What are you hearing from fans about it?
they love it, and they're not tired of it. I've been listening to it for a year, so I'm a little tired of it. It was finished a year ago for us, and we've had the mixes since November of last year. So I listened to it plenty between last November and now. But yeah, the fans love it. Like they love the song, they love the video, they're responding to it, which is, anything any artist would always ask for, is that you can connect with other people through your medium, whether it's the written word or music or both. It feels good.
Now, you mentioned the video, and I feel like such a jackass because I wanted to I watched it last night and I was like, whoa, this is cool. Okay. I wanted to go a little more in depth with it. And but I forgot that part of it right now. I just remember right now. I was like, oh, son of a bitch. Okay. The whole idea for that, because you did like a horror theme, right?
Yeah. We always
Okay,
go that way.
where did that idea come from?
Well, I had met this director through a mutual friend who produces our videos already, but she had met this new team of director and cinematographer, and she really liked the director. And she had called me in summer of 2020 and said, "I have a director I would love for you to work with." And I was like, "Well, we probably aren't going to be recording anytime till like January, or maybe in a few months, but I don't know." We had written some things. So it was in the back of my mind. And when we worked on Tight Lipped, I worked with this guy. His name's Sham Shapson, and he's phenomenal. And we ended up, the first thing I wanted to do was work with him again on this song. And I contacted him last January and said, well, I contacted the producer and she let him hear it. She's like, he has to like the song. And what I love about Sam is he's also like an auteur director, like where they write the story. And he calls me and he asks me what the lyrics are about and like what the song came from. It's almost like an interview. And then he'll ask me about particular parts that stuck out to him and where did that line come from? Because he knows how I write. And he takes it and makes a whole other story with it. So, he had this whole idea of like almost, the best comparison I can say is to like a Frankenstein themed like idea where you're trying to bring something back to life with the I seek fire, you know what I mean? You're trying to like bring it back to life. And
Okay.
it's really a metaphor. I think for him, it's a metaphor of, not only like trying to bring a relationship back to life, but trying to bring something like an experience we had, bring it back to life. It's like the human condition. He always takes something and makes it a real narrative. And I love that. Like I love mini movies. So I love working with him. I'm sure I'm going to work with him on the next one. So it just gets better every time.
So with the whole idea with the video and that, now Soraia's on a break right now, but you guys are back in Rhode Island on the 31st. Okay. Halloween. Yeah. Any plans for anything cool on the Halloween? You just allude. You don't have to tell anything, but do you have any ideas for anything cool on the Halloween show?
I mean, we're going to dress up. That's something we're definitely doing. Other than that, probably just celebrating Halloween. We've been in Germany on Halloween, and we've done Halloween a lot. So we just like dressing up, and we have a theme for the band this year. So.
Oh, you have a theme for the band. Okay. I want to see pictures.
Yeah.
I was gonna say I want to see pictures. I want to see what this theme is. No, I'm not even gonna put it out there in case I like. Oh, there can be somebody. I see you. No, I'm not going to say it. I'm not going to say it.
Why not? Where are
But
we going? We're just here.
huh?
You could
Well, I don't want people to be like, oh shit, they did do that.
no, don't say it then. You're probably right. We're a little on the nose as a band.
No.
We're not as creative in our costumes as we are in our music.
So now Bloom comes out on the 28th.
Yes.
And this is kind of weird to say thinking about it, but Bloom, you kind of think new, you know, it's blooming, it's new. Okay, well, Soraia, what are you, what is Soraia blooming now?
Well, if
Because
we, yeah.
you've been around so long.
Well, part of it is as a person, as an artist, and as a band, it's blooming now. Like here's the thing is like there's a seed and then that we've kind of followed that not consciously for a while with Dead Reckoning into Dig Your Roots into Bloom. And it kind of all follows the idea of like, this cycle of everything. I mean, I can get very deep on this, but it's the idea that all people rise, fall, and in order to bloom, like blooming is the final end result of a lot of work. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I looked at it when they asked me the title, the label called, and they said, "What's the title for the album?" I was like, "Oh my god, this part." I was like, "Oh my god." I was like, "This part is not my specialty," but I listened to, and I do the same thing I did all the last 3 or 4 records is I just listened to all the songs and what's the common thread. And what I heard the common thread was that was different from the last 2 records is I know who I am, the band knows who we are. We're not trying to be anything but ourselves. And that's ever changing, right? But at the same time, we have a flow, like I said, with how we work together, how we produce together, how we work in the studio together, how we tour together. It's bloom. It's that it's not the end of it. It's like I think sometimes, and this is a reflection too of life, is people get into the okay, I'm good here. Let's stay here. This works, and I think that is the antithesis of everything that all of us stand for. And I think I can speak for Travis and Brianna and say that none of us are like, it's not that we're not happy or comfortable, but we want to keep changing and keep evolving. I mean, as an artist, you just want to keep growing. An artist isn't like a stagnant, stale thing. It's a constant growth, right? But it's easy that when you have some success, you want to stay like, this is what works. This is the formula that works. Let's do it. Right.
Yeah.
I think Bloom is about like, who knows what's next? People always say, what's next? I'm like, I don't know what's next. I know that every album we grow fans, we grow ourselves. We have a different understanding of the business of music. We have a different understanding of the world. So what's next is bloom. It's like you're there, you're there now what kind of thing. It was
Okay.
more of even a personal band statement than really a statement of anything else.
That makes sense because I mean, with what you're talking about, where when you see bands getting that place where they are comfortable and they just keep using the same formula over and over, fans start to resent them for doing the same thing over and over. So I applaud you for like looking at this as you're blooming now because you have been around so long, and then also to keep changing, keep evolving. Like, don't keep yourself in a box. That's a really awesome way to look at it. And what about Soraia? What do you see for the band in the future? As far as, are you getting new fans with each new album?
Oh, absolutely. I think anybody does. I think how many is dependent on your team and your support and how many people are going to be exposed to the music. I think we're lucky enough that we've been, pushing that rock up the hill, as they say, for a while, and we're not doing it. I mean, there's this part of you, if I'm being 100% honest, that's going like, okay, we've been doing it such and such long. Shouldn't we be at such and such a point? Like, you know what I mean? But if I'm honest, I can look at what we've done, and every record, we're lucky enough to be signed to a label that allows us to be artists to make mistakes, to not say if this record doesn't do this much in sales or whatever, then you're dropped. Like we have an artist label. We're on an artist label, which is a beautiful thing for artists.
Gotcha.
Because in order to really help an artist, encourage them to get to where they are, it's like we all want this endpoint, but there isn't really one, you know. I think anyway, if I'm being honest, the reality is that, you know, if somebody said, what do you really want? I'd say that I want the band to continue to grow and to stay together, which is a hard thing, right? At times, especially when
Yes.
you have different life things happening or you have different aspirations. But we all have the freedom to do what we want outside of this as well. So we're not like, you know, we're choosing to be in it. It's not like somebody's going, I need you to stay in this so we can do this tour or this tour. Like we choose to be in it. And there's a rock ethic I've always followed, which is pretty much Joan Jett's, and I've seen it with also a little bit with the Kills, and maybe um even with like, you know, the White Stripes, no, not the White Stripe, with Jack White. I've seen it a little bit. It's like this idea of like just being an artist and doing the next thing, and that you're called to do. And like just like, you know, I love the reason I love Joan Jett so much is people always ask me that way. She just, when did she stop? Like, did she stop? I don't think so. And I don't mean like workaholic. I mean like she didn't quit if she had a hit, if she didn't have a hit, if she, you know what I mean? Like it's in her blood. And to me, it's in our blood. So what's next for Soraia is kind of the murkiest thing I've ever experienced because I honestly don't know. I know we're going to start writing again for the next record. I know who I'd like to be involved with it. I know that much, but I'm also just trying to, there's like a growth spurt happening, I think. I'm choosing to look at it like a growth spurt. It's either that or I'm dying. I don't know. But I was like, can't go there. But something's changing, and there's a lot of interest in other aspects of what we do as well. So I'm not sure, but I know we're going to stay together and we're going to write more songs. I know that. So
Now, the last time we spoke, you sang the okay, yeah.
praises.
Take two. You spoke the praises of Joan,
Yes.
and I can see it. You are a fan, aren't you? What was it like to work with someone who you're such a huge fan of? Oh, no way.
I don't think I've ever taken this. I've only had it for a few years because I gave her my first one on her birthday.
Okay.
Because she didn't have one, so I gave her one. But like fans have sent me that. That's not even my purchase. Like a fan sent me that because they know, and I think people have always seen that ethic in me. She's kind of always just been in the forefront of my musical life in terms of, even like, I remember I had all my vinyl a few years ago, probably like 7 or 8 years ago. I had all my vinyl kind of, you know, you have to have it standing up, and
Yeah.
it was facing me, and it was all her face facing me. And I'm like, why are they all Joan Jett facing me? Like, you know what I mean? Like I have hundreds and
You're like,
hundreds.
whoa.
Elvis is my favorite artist of all time. So I don't know why Joan Jett was fit, but you know, I've always been a fan from the first time I heard her voice. It was so different than everything else like I'd heard. And
Yeah,
then
she did not, when they started out, she did not fit the stereotype of a singer.
not at all.
So I mean, that's why she was just basically the guitarist in the band. And
And I have
then
to say, like, hearing her voice is what, even more than the song. I heard something in her voice that was rebellious and defiant and different than everything I'd heard before. And I think it was emulated a lot by people after her. Like, I'm a fan of a lot of 90s grunge. And I think a lot of the females of the 90s, like the Courtney Loves and the Brody Dolls and the, like, you know, I wouldn't say Shirley Manson because she's a little more melodic, but they had that spit to what they did in rock.
Mhm.
And I think that was something that I felt for me as a listener and as a music lover was missing, was that I don't have to be necessarily, I mean, I was a tomboy growing up. Like I was a tomboy probably like 4th or 5th grade. And then all of a sudden I was a girly girl. Like it was funny. It was like I went through these different phases. but I've always had a little bit of a tomboy quality. I grew up around a bunch of boys, you know what I mean? And I think I've
Okay.
just always been had a little bit of that quality, and I thought she helped me feel like I fit in, into a world when I didn't fit in high school or in grade school, and she just something. And then as a musician, I loved how she approached a song, like what she brought to a song, the attitude in her voice, the way she phrased things spoke to me. There's like this really intangible thing in music that makes us fans of music, right? Like if
Yeah.
I said, "What's your favorite band, Shep?"
Um,
One of your favorite bands.
that is one of my favorite bands,
One of your
Avenged Sevenfold.
Okay, so there's something about their music and their voice and the way they play it that speaks to you, that you can tell me a million reasons, but there's something intangible there that is reaching you,
Yeah.
and I think that anybody you're a fan of, there's some element that you connect with them. And and having opened for her obviously is a dream come true, but I always tell Kenny Laguna and Meryl the same thing. I say every time before we open for, I have to watch the documentary, Bad Reputation, right? Because I have to remember who I'm opening for. This isn't just another artist that just popped in, popped out, then popped back in again. This woman's been doing it nonstop.
Yeah.
So I have to remember what she's been through and what path she's forged for me in music. Just like people 20 years from now, hopefully will say the same for us. Like, so there's like a bigger thing you're attracted to there.
That's uh, thinking about it, man. It's even choking me up a little bit. That is amazing, amazing thing to say. I mean, to think that you appreciate this artist so much that you have to like remind yourself like how much of an icon they are. And then I'm sure that pumps you up and you go out there and you do the best possible performance you can do.
Yeah, you want them to be proud of you. I want her to know that what she did, because as artists we go through hard times. Like we being on the road sometimes can be really hard emotionally and in the wrong frame of mind if you're too tired, you know, and I want her to know that what she did made a difference, and I let her fans know I don't leave one show we open for her without them knowing we're fans. They know I'm a fan of hers. I'll say I have the truck, or hey, like she got me through this, or hey, like, when I met her, I ran away from her because I did. As soon as I saw her, I like ran away. Like I was that much of a fan that I didn't want to meet her. I was terrified that I wanted to meet
I'll
her, but
do
I was
something
afraid of her.
stupid.
And you're so scared. I mean, it's just so weird. And but like, one of the first things Joan Jett said to me when I met her, first of all, I've met a lot of people, and I've worked with a lot of people that have had years of success. I've worked, with John Bon Jovi. I've worked with Steven's our label head, Steven Van Zandt. I've met a million singers that are, have a success. But when I saw her, I said, "You saved my life," and I was like, "What did you just say?" Like, I was like, "What is that to say to somebody you just met?" So I was like, "You saved my life," and she goes, "Wasn't that what you're doing now for others?" Like she kind of like gave me a pat on the back of like as an artist and saying like, "You're doing the same thing. Don't forget."
Kind of
We're all,
give you like a reality check. It's like, hey, you're doing the same shit. Shut up.
yeah. When
That's
you meet somebody like that, you just feel like a fan. Like I still look at her sometimes, and I just am like, I can't believe. Like I still, now I'm like, hey, how you doing? And and ask her what she thought of the show, or how her show went, or how she's doing. But like, there's still that part of me that's like, a little bit afraid of her in terms of just she's a hero, like, and I don't want to make her feel uncomfortable with that, but she's definitely my hero. So
she definitely up there. She's the one that basically she created Zuzu in a way.
she's the reason I
That's
do it for sure. I don't
that's
think
well, and so I have to thank her. Otherwise, we would not have Soraia. Like
absolutely.
not in the form the Soraia is right now. On this album Bloom, you have a couple interesting things on there. One of the things that I thought was so interesting was you do a cover of Kiss Strutter.
We do.
I'm anxious to hear that.
Oh, it's out. It actually just came out.
Really?
It got released. Yeah. So I think this Friday another song's being released too. It's like they're slowly putting them out on like Spotify and Apple Music. Like just a couple of the singles from the record. So I think this Friday is Jackson's song comes out. I think Strutter came out last week or the week before. But I Seek Fire was like the main single after Hammer and the Anvil was on vinyl. So it's like I think 1, 2, 3, 4, four of the 10 are out already.
Okay. All right. Awesome. Well, people are going to hear that then, because like I said, I Seek Fire is so far up on the charts. And right now, well, on Foundations, which is our chart, it's going to be quite a while. But Billboard Mainstream Rock Indicator charts, 24 this week.
23. It just
23. It just went up again.
Yeah,
it's like golf clap. That's awesome, man. So Strutter from Soraia, that is what people are going to hear before I Seek Fire, because like I said, I Seek Fire is way up the charts. So it's going to be a while before I play that. And I want to play one of your songs out of our chat.
Okay, cool.
So Soraia.com is the website, and you are active on all socials, aren't you?
Yes.
Do you have any main ones that people should watch for?
I'm really good on Instagram. Like when we're on tour, I post a lot of stories, and the band does on their individual pages. Like I keep up pretty good with Soraia on Instagram, the best, and then Facebook would probably be a second. TikTok would be third. You know, Twitter I'm good on too. Twitter is probably somewhere between Instagram and Facebook, but Instagram is probably the number one. Like if you watch our stories, you'll see pretty much the newest information and pretty rare stuff that you're not going to see on our timeline kind of stuff. But yeah.
Okay, awesome. Well, people, I know for a fact too that Zou Zou like watches those socials, and that if you want to say something to her, if you just give her a shout out.
Yep.
Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, whatever. Give her a shout out. Huh?
Direct message is the worst. If you just post, I'll usually answer.
Just post. Okay. Then yeah, just say hi. I appreciate you. Zou Zou, thank you so much for being here. And you are forever. I don't care how many people think I'm making fun of you or whatever. Forever, you are my little buddy Zou Zou Pedals.
Yes, I am. I'm happy to be there. You're my buddy too.
Thank you so much.
Click for the latest video right here, right now. And don't forget to like and subscribe.